Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. This morning I am able to come here to continue on me making the video on the subject of religion and belief. And yesterday it was raining in the morning, so was unable to make the video yesterday. And today, Alhamdulillah, I will continue to make this video on the subject of religion and belief, because it is important, keep saying this, to get the message in our heart and mind. It is important because it is the preparation for the future life, whereby either we'll be happy or we'll be sad, being punished by the Creator or being rewarded by the Creator. Because I remember the revelation in the Gospel of Barnabas when Prophet Ibrahim was invited to have a talk with God. Among the first thing God said was He would punish the people who were rebellious against God. Allah said He created hell for it, to punish the people who are rebellious. In the Gospel of Barnabas, I think only a few days ago, Jesus mentioned about we to think about the punishment and be away and make us be careful and have fear of God. Many times in the revelation in the Koran, asking people to have fear in God. Even the Koran, the revelation of God, the Koran is the reading material for people who have fear in God. So this video is keeping a reminder to you, keep saying it every day, that we need to be prepared for the day of where we'll be judged. Our belief will be questioned. If our belief is right, then we would attain happiness in the future life. and our belief is wrong, then we will be punished. And be very careful when the Prophet Muhammad SAW was saying in the future Islam will be divided into 73 branches, and only one branch of people in that branch will be admitted to paradise, and the rest 72 branches who claim they are Muslims, but in reality they are not considered as believers. So they will be also be sent to hell. So be very careful of the branch in Islam in saying you the Shia, the Wahhabi, and many others who claim they are using good name like Salafis. Be very careful. It's good to be in the branch of Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, which is following the way of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So even in the first surah Al-Fatihah, each time we do salah prayer, we ask Allah to show us the straight path, the path of the people who had been given favor by Allah. So the way of the prophets and his early followers or Sahaba. Okay, brothers and sisters, let me recap on reading the Koran. I couldn't remember. Let me refer my Quran. So you were talking about the limit of what the Prophet can do. Line by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had drawn a line what prophet duty is and what is beyond him. So it is up to Allah to pardon a person or to punish him. So what the prophet duty is just to send the message, and it's really up to Allah whether He want to punish or forgive a person. Okay, that is the recap of reading the Quran and on reading the Gospel of Barnabas. I remember the Gospel of Barnabas revealed that we to think not to think much of the reward of what thing we do good on earth, but think more of the punishment that we would get if we do wrong or fail to serve God accordingly. Okay, that complete my recap on reading the Gospel of Barnabas. So now, brothers and sisters, let us read the Quran to get the barakah of this morning. Let me read Quran in Arabic. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَّبِّكُمْ وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضُ أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Sadaqallahul Azim. So, brothers and sisters, let us read the meaning of the sentences on this page. And be quick in looking for the forgiveness from your God, and look to get into paradise, which is vast like the heaven, and the earth, set ready for the people who had fear of Allah. So, brothers and sisters, the mentioning of fear of Allah is again seen here. So next sentence, that is the people who spend out their wealth in the day of their at ease and the day they are tight, and the people who refrain from anger or following his heart or bad things, and giving forgiveness to others and love doing good. So refrain from anger is good things. So why Satan was being disobedient? He was angry with Adam. He was angry being asked to prostrate in front of Adam, and his anger led him to be rebellious. So something like that. Here it is mentioned to refrain from getting angry or loss of control or following our bad heart. And the people who, if they had done wrong and being cruel to themselves, quickly remember Allah, then asking for forgiveness for their sin. And who else can forgive the sin other than Allah? Then they would not continue or stop making sin whilst they know. So next sentence, the return of them is the forgiveness from God, and they will be admitted to paradise, below which will be the river, flowing river. They will be in paradise forever. That is the best of the benefit of good deed for people who are doing good. Next sentence, verily pass before you is the doing of Allah, then trouble you to part of the world and see for yourself how in the end of people who deceive God messenger, and you see in this world we see the remains of buildings destroyed by God, or you see the remains of building where the people suddenly disappeared in the old days because they were destroyed or punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the Quran which explain clearly for mankind and be the guidance for people who have fear of Allah. Again, in this sentence, the word fear of Allah. Next sentence, don't you feel weak and sad in your heart because you are on top in rank if you are believers. So I had kept saying this: if we believe and follow the guidance sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah reveal, don't feel sad, don't feel worry. It is also mentioned here in slightly different words. Next sentence, if you got injured in the battle of Uhud, then they in the battle of Badr got injured the same, and time will be the victory and destruction. We will make it in turn among the mankind. Hopefully they'll learn a lesson and hope Allah differentiate people who are really believers and the unbelievers, and a portion of you would be killed in the way of Allah. Allah don't like the cruel people. So the shuhada, or the people who were killed fighting in the way of Allah, the return is that they will be admitted in paradise. So it's nothing to worry. But the unbelievers in fighting, if they are killed in fighting, they will be admitted or sent to hell to be punished by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So don't worry much about people who die fighting in the way of fighting for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah. So the reward is big for those who die fighting in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We call Sahid or Shuhada. So, brothers and sisters, let me now read the Gospel of Barnabas. Okay, I like also to recast on what we had read on chapter 69. This is very important. Talking about the idol of flesh. When Jesus came to a city and the people in the city start together the sick, because it was opportunity for them, if they are sick or their relatives were sick, they could ask Jesus to perform miracle to cure the sickness. But then okay, I read here, the Roman soldiery by the working of Satan began to steer the common people, saying Jesus was the God of Israel. So it was the Roman soldier working of Satan stir up the common people, saying Jesus was the God. So this is the background, the story behind why certain sect of Christian teaching people to believe Jesus is Son of God. So this is the origin. Let's see where city came to. At the time Jesus, it was in the temple Jesus went out of the temple, and the people were already waiting for him outside the temple. So which temple is that? Is it the Temple of Solomon? If it is the Temple of Solomon, it is in Jerusalem. The still Temple of Solomon was destroyed, but there is still part of the building still exists today. The wall where I see in the YouTube the Jews kind of do their worship near the wall of the Temple of Solomon. So when Jesus went to Jerusalem, he worshipped in the Temple of Solomon. Then many people were already waiting for him outside the temple, brought all the sick for whom they could gather. So there must be hundreds of people, of sick people waiting outside the temple. Then Jesus, with miracle and the leave of God, then cure all the sick people, and the soldiers of Rome took this opportunity to stir up people, saying that Jesus was the God of Israel. Now come to the teaching of Christian, saying Jesus is Son of God. So it was the Roman soldiers saying, so it wasn't the teaching of Jesus saying. So with that, brothers and sisters, oh no, I have not read the gospel yet. Alhamdulillah, I didn't miss. Okay, we should be reading chapter 70 this morning of Gospel of Barnabas. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Jesus departed from Jerusalem after the Passover and entered into the borders of Caesarea Philippi, whereupon the angel Gabriel, having told him the sedition which was beginning among the common people, he asked his disciples, saying, "What do men say of me? Some say that you are Elijah, others say Jeremiah, and others one of the old prophets. Jesus answered, and you, what say you that I am? Peter answered, you are Christ, Son of God. Then was Jesus angry with anger, rebuked him, saying, Begone, depart from me, because you are the devil, and seek to cause offense. And he threatened the 11, saying, Woe to you if you believe this, for I have won from God a great curse against those who believe this. And he was fain to cast away Peter, whereupon 11 besought Jesus for him, who cast not away, but again rebuked him, saying, Beware that never again you say such word, because God would reprobate you. Peter wept and said, Lord, I have spoken foolishly. Beseech God that he pardon me. Then Jesus said, If God will not to show himself to Moses, his servant, nor to Elijah, whom he loved, nor to any prophet, will you think that God show himself to his faithless generation? No, but know you not that Allah created all things of nothing with one single word, and all men had their origin out of piece of clay. Now how shall God have likeness to man? Woe to those who suffer themselves to be deceived of Satan. Having said this, Jesus besought God for Peter, the 11, and Peter, weeping and saying, So be it, bless Lord our God. Afterward Jesus departed, went into Galilee, in order this vain opinion which common folk began to hold concerning him might be extinguished. So how upset was Jesus when one of his disciples, Peter, called him Son of God? Then Jesus warned him, and he asked Peter to go away from him. But if not because of other disciples asking Jesus to forgive Peter, but in the end, Jesus agreed to ask for forgiveness from God, so Peter would be forgiven. And Peter was weeping, crying, begging for forgiveness. So the saying Son of God is something making Jesus most upset. From then on, Jesus went away, leaving his disciple. He was much upset he went away, leaving his disciple be alone to extinguish himself from the thoughts of people telling him he is the Son of God. So with that, brothers and sisters, Alhamdulillah, we are Muslim. Thank you very much for listening.